When you first opened your studio, your primary goal was to fill every spot. So you packed in the students until there weren't any blank spaces left in your afternoons and evenings because as an independent music teacher, most of us modeled our businesses after the K through 12 model or the model that we learned from the teachers that we took lessons from. But here's the issue, right? When we use those models to define our success and we maximize our schedules, we max out our schedules to the absolute brim, you're gonna burn out. Because that old model, it taught us that in order to be successful, we had to absolutely have a full teaching studio. And this is where the problems start, right? This is where we get into working on the weekends when we don't want to. It's where we end up working late at night, missing family dinners, missing out with events with friends, and just generally feeling really overwhelmed because we've maxed out our schedules. We haven't realized that, oh my gosh, there's so much admin that's going to be involved with this. And it's time. It's time to talk about the biggest lie that we have learned as independent music teachers and how we can start redefining what full means. So if you have felt overwhelmed, burnt out, unhappy with the way that your schedule is running, I'm really glad you're here because today we're going to talk about some solutions. Hey there. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Sara Campbell. I am a business, marketing, and mindset coach for music studio owners and online education experts just like yourself. And I go live here every Wednesday where we unpack those topics, where we talk about the business strategies that we need to be in order to be successful, where we talk about marketing and how to reach our ideal clients, and where we talk about the mindsets that we need to have in place for those two other things to work successfully. And today we're talking about the biggest lie. And when I say biggest, I mean biggest lie. This is a huge one. And it's something that's been on my mind a lot, especially in the past months as I've talked to clients who are experiencing burnout, as I have experienced burnout myself. And so I thought today, let's expose this lie and really examine where it comes from, what we can do about it, and how we can move forward in redefining what success means and redefining what capacity means, because you deserve to love your job and you deserve to have a life outside of that job. So if you're joining me here today, please be sure to say hello and let me know if you have experienced that full capacity burnout mode. Hey there, Christine. Nice to see you. Thanks for notifying me. We did have a little glitch this morning in getting the broadcast out, but I think that we have fixed that. I'm really passionate about this topic today, so I want to thank you for showing up with me. If you have a teacher friend who you think could benefit from this conversation, please invite them to join us. The more the merrier. We always have a good time in having these discussions. And so thank you for getting here. Oh, the links were a little broken. I'm glad you guys all figured it out today. Hopefully everybody can find us, and I'll make sure that we double check the links. Yeah, we had some glitches this morning, so we'll jump in and do that real fast. But while I'm doing this, I would love to know from you all, what have you experienced over the past year or so? Have you experienced a place where you're showing up and you're trying to teach those full schedules and you're finding yourselves exhausted at the end of the day? Is that happening to you? Glitches this. Here we go. We know the links are working via text. All right. Awesome. Yay. We're finally in. I will say good morning, Elizabeth and Patricia and Cheryl Lee. Hello, Janelle. Hi there, Karen. Hey there, Stephanie. Yeah, the links should work now. Hey there, Deborah. It's tuning in from Tennessee. So I would love to know from you all. The big question is, have you experienced that full capacity burnout? Have you worked those late nights when you haven't been able to stop teaching until 9 o'clock? Have you had those 6-day weeks, 7-day weeks where you don't get the breaks that you need. If you have found yourself in that place, or if you've experienced, those that whirling mind at the end of the evening because you're just not able to shut it off because you're so busy, I'm really glad you're here. So today we're going to break this down. We're going to examine this big lie, thinking about where does it come from? What do we do about it? And how can we move forward and recreate the model so that we do not find ourselves in burnout mode? Stephanie says, yes, this model is so unhealthy. Karen says that she's felt completely burned out from teaching. Yes. Hey there, Tyler. Nice to see you tuning in from Kansas. Good to see you. I hope you got my email. All right, so let's get to it. We love to learn out loud today. So if you hear something that is valuable to you, make sure to give us a hashtag takeaway and let us know what that value is, whether you're watching here on the Book of Faces or if you're watching over on the YouTube channel. Share with us what is the most valuable thing that you are learning today, and it's a great way that we can all learn out loud together. So I do have the Savvy Sara bot set up. So if you are on the Book of Face, if you drop a capacity below, you will get the show notes from today. I'm also going to be sending you a really short blog post. It's a 3-minute read. I think you're going to enjoy it, and it's going to expand on some of the topics that we're going to be discussing. And if you are on YouTube, you can look for that link in the description here. I see we have a lot of people saying been there, done that, hesitant to load back up after this last year. Yeah, all right, so let's get to it, shall we? Let's talk about this big lie. This big, big lie. All right, it starts with the models that we've learned. So each one of us, we have our own story, right? But I'll share a little bit of my story. So the model that I've learned is in thinking about, what did my choir teachers do? What did my voice teachers do? What did my teachers do in your university? And looking at what their schedules looked like. And you could see that it was back-to-back clients. You could see that, the people, those poor choir directors during the day were completely maxed out because they probably had, were filling the role of like 3 music teachers rather than 1. Did they have a planning period? No. Did they have a lunch period? No, because they were teaching extra classes during those times. So because we grow up in those models, we tend to absorb those as the model that we need to follow. And so when we open up shop, our idea of creating a work week is based on the number of hours that we can max out teaching-wise. So you're looking at your schedule and you're thinking, okay, well, the kids get out at like 2:45, maybe 2:30, maybe 3 o'clock. I'm going to start right then, and I'm going to fill as many spots as I can from the people that come to me. So you end up maybe working until 6, then a few more people call. Then you're working until 7, then a couple more people call. Then you're working until 8. And we find ourselves in this cycle that if somebody inquires with us, that we've got to put them on the schedule, right? And eventually, those days that we thought that we wanted to teach, maybe you taught like Monday through Friday, you're going to have a few more people that come in. And so you open up on Saturdays, you open up on Sundays. And we have this mindset that we need to take all of the students that come to us and that we have to fill all of the spots. And this is where we start to get in trouble. Because we haven't really understood what capacity meant. So when we're thinking about what does capacity look like in your studio, I want you to, for a moment, take a step back and look at other industries. Capacity for other industries that are working 9 to 5, right? That 40-hour work week. Inside of that 9 to 5, we don't have the type of schedule that we see with teaching. Inside of that 9 to 5, we have breaks. We have time that is set aside for specific tasks. We might have client calls. depending on the type of industry that it is. But inside of that, those hours are broken down into a lot of different pieces. So when it comes to defining what does capacity mean with your own teaching schedule, we need to really examine what does it mean to be an independent music teacher? What are the jobs involved with running a successful studio? And so the first step that I would love you to take, and if you have a notepad handy, that would be fabulous, or type it out on something. I want you to make a list of all of the things that you do, and not just the teaching. So teaching is going to be the last thing that you're going to put on that list. Make a list of all of the things that need to happen in order for you to run a successful studio. That's when we start to understand what real capacity looks like. And let's break that down even further. Yes, there we go. I see lots of capacities jumping into the comments here. I see people sharing stories about working until 8 o'clock on Monday through Thursday, and then Saturdays from 10 to 3 and 9 to 2:30 at the college. Really big schedules, right? Really, really full schedules. So first we need to look at what does capacity really mean. Start by making that list. And then let's just consider the word capacity. It's how much space we have until we are full to the top. Now, in order to run a successful business, I'm gonna throw something out here. You should not be at full capacity. Because if you are at full capacity teaching-wise, you don't have room for all the other things that need to happen in order for your business to work. So let's look at this. Teaching time versus business time. How many of you have set hours for when you do your admin work? Set hours for when you do your lesson prep. Hours for when you do your marketing and social media. Have you considered how much time it takes to do those things? Now, when we look at our full teaching schedule, let's say you're teaching 20 or 30 students in a week. And of course, I'm going to break out my calculator because I'm not going to math out loud without having something to check on. Let's say that we have that 30 student model and we're at 30 30-minute lessons. That's a 15 hours of active teaching, right? Now consider the time that it's going to take you to lesson prep for that. Let's say you have 3 hours of lesson prep. Okay, great. Let's say we need to consider how many hours do we have in answering emails. Maybe that's 2 hours. Okay, now we're up to 20 hours. How many hours is it going to take you to do some of the admin stuff that happens to be behind the scene? Ordering things, tracking receipts, doing all that. Let's add another 2 hours to the schedule. Now we're up to 22. So these hours add up really quickly. Now we haven't even scheduled in stuff like marketing and social media. Let's add another 3 hours to that. Now we're at 25. Okay, so 25 active hours. We haven't taken into account that you might need to take a break and go to the bathroom. So let's add in another hour. No, let's add in another 2 hours for taking a break and eating something, being able to use the restroom, getting a drink, having a breath. Now you're up to 27 hours. So when we're looking at capacity and we're basing it only on the students that we have who come into our door, we are lying to ourselves. Because that's what we've been taught. Because that's the model that we grew up in. That's the model that has been demonstrated to us. Yeah, so there we go. Lisa says she has a couple of days each week for office work. It is so helpful. Math out loud. That is a Michelle Marquette DeVoe thing. Doing business taxes. Yes, house cleaning and preparing the studio for teaching days. See, this is why it's so important to start with that list of all the things that you do. If this is resonating with you right now, go ahead and give me those thumbs up and hearts. And let me know, what is it that is resonating with you? So we have to really get specific about what does my job look like? What are all the things that I have to do in order to have a successful business? And we've got to track the hours, because most of the time, I can guarantee you, almost 100% of the time, we are only looking at the active teaching hours, and we're not considering the space that we need to do all those other things, to send the emails, to update the website, to update your socials, to respond to texts, to make those lesson plans, to plan for the recitals, to do your income taxes, to da 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 da, right? It gets exhausting. And so this is why one of the things that I've been working with a lot of clients and with myself, because this is something that you have to constantly revisit, right? Is to start thinking about doing a time audit. How much time are you spending on things? Getting real with, okay, sitting down for a full week and tracking how much time are you spending on each one of these items. It's not the most fun audit to do, I'll admit, but it's really eye-opening. And it allows us to see what is truly in your hour. That hour that student sits down with you, there's way more than just that time at the bench or the time at the music stand, right? So this is where we come to redefining capacity. And I'm going to invite you to try something new this year. Maybe in the next time that you're redoing your schedule, maybe you can even find some things to do with the current schedule that you have. I'm going to encourage you to intentionally create empty space and to think about, where can I make this space in my schedule so that I can breathe, so that I can take a mental break and right? Empty space is not wasted space in a schedule. Empty space is necessary to allow our brains to rest, to allow our hearts to rest, to allow our bodies to rest, so that we can fill our own cups. Because if you are constantly filling the cups of others and filling that schedule to capacity, then you are going to run the risk of burnout. Hey, I see Jeffrey. Jay, it is nice to see you. Jay is responsible for some pretty cool things behind the scenes here. So can we give Jay a shout out, because he is the virtual assistant for Savvy Music Studio, and he does some amazing things, you guys. So thank you, Jay, for helping me create some empty space in my schedule and for doing all the amazing things that you do. Oh, Karen, beautiful, beautiful. Without rests, music would be one long siren, and nobody wants to listen to that. Nobody wants to listen to that. So in redefining capacity, we really need to get specific about, when am I going to have empty space in my schedule? So it's not just about finding space for all of those things that we listed at the beginning, right? It's also about building space in so that you have time to breathe, time to grow, time to rest. And let me give you a real specific way to do this. So let's blow up the model for a second, shall we? Let's blow it up, right? Because this lie that we've been fed, that in order to be successful, we have to maximize out our schedule. What if we could just flip that on its head and start fresh and recreate a model that is going to support not just a successful business, but a business that you love? What would that look like? You guys ready for this? And yay! Thank you, Jeffrey. Empty space is easy on the eye. Empty space invites creativity. So good. Hey there, Sally. Nice to see you turning in. Ashley, I'm sending you hugs right now. All right, so what are we going to do? How can we get rid of this model? Well, we have to work backwards. What if we could reverse engineer what capacity meant? And instead of looking at our business as just a bunch of spaces that need to be filled by students, to think about, what do I need financially to be successful? And how can I build a model that meets those financial needs and supports me not just as a teacher and business owner, but as a human being who needs space? If we start to do that, and it's a process that I'm not going to detail today. It's a process that really allows us to dig deep and to examine the value that we are providing to clients and to examine what we want our lives to look like. When I'm working with one-on-one clients, oftentimes we call this the perfect week exercise. And it's a hard one. Sounds easy, right? Oh, what does your perfect week look like? Wave your magic wand and tell me what your perfect week looks like. But we are so stuck in this idea that success means a maximized schedule, that being able to even dream about that perfect week is really hard. So if you're finding yourself in burnout and you're wondering, I don't know how long I can do this, then I invite you to work backwards. Crunch the numbers. What do you need in order for your business to be financially successful? Then examine, what do you want that week to look like? What do you need to be successful as a human being, not just as a teacher, but as a family, as a mom, as a dad, as a unique human being who should have hobbies outside of teaching? I know, imagine that. We're actually supposed to have hobbies. My therapist called me out on that this week, just so you know. Anyway, so we want to look at, what do I need in order to be financially successful? And then what do I need in order to be human being successful? And we need to then figure out, how can we make those things work together? So that is my spiel today. And I hope that you're finding it helpful. If you would like to get the show notes from today, and I'm also going to send you a blog post that has, it's a 3-minute read. It has 3 tips that you can implement today in order to start redefining what capacity means. If you want to get a hold of that, then you're going to drop a capacity below, because the Savvy Sara bot will set you up in Messenger. She will also send you the options to get Messenger notifications for this broadcast. And she also can now send you really cool little text messages, which I can kind of show you here. If you would rather get notifications via text about the broadcast, all you have to do is opt in once for those. And for my YouTube viewers, if you're watching this later on, look in the description for links in order to opt into those if you'd like to join us live, or if you just want to make sure that you get that link to the replay. It's going to be so easy to do. All right, I see lots of capacities going down. Hey there, Jana. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Hey there, Carrie and Andrea and Elizabeth. Oh, good to see you all. If you enjoyed this, please consider inviting one of your teacher friends to join us. I love to invite new people in. Let's do a quick recap for those of you who might have come in late. Before we do that, I saw a really good comment here. Sometimes it feels weird not having anything to do that's not productive. Yeah, right? When you have that empty space because we're so used to go, 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 go. But what if we could redefine what that empty space was for? So the biggest lie that we learn as independent music teachers is something that we absorb from being in school, from having teachers of our own. And the lie is this, that in order to have a successful music studio, you must have a teaching schedule that is at full capacity. And here's where the lie comes in, right? The models that we've learned told us that busy K through 12 teachers, they don't have a break. They don't have a planning period. They don't have a lunch. They're doing all the things because they need to be able to fulfill all of these things in order to be successful. But really, what does capacity mean? We have to look at what does full mean. And full isn't just about teaching time. So you start with that list. You start with sitting down and getting real, or what are all the things that we do in order to run our studios? Looking at your admin time, breaking that down into client emails, scheduling stuff, doing things for recitals and events, lesson prepping, all the tax stuff, all of the expenses, and making sure that we're tracking things. Continuing education and the things that you need to do in order to stay on top of where you need to go, ordering music. Make a big old list, and the very last thing on that list is going to be teaching, because that's the easy part, right? So you need to redefine capacity by looking at everything you're doing and understand that empty space is not wasted. Empty space will allow you to be a more successful business owner. And if you're not sure how to do that, you're going to work it backwards. You're going to think about, what do you need financially in order to be successful, and what do you need schedule-wise in order to be a successful human being? And then you're going to figure out how to make those two things work together. And if you need help with that, hit me up. It's what I do. All right, wonderful. Okay, so thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you guys stopping in. If you enjoyed this broadcast, be sure to share it with your teacher friends and let them know about it. If you're watching later on the replay, know that I love to jump into the conversation, so please be sure to add your comments as well. I will be here next week for another live, and so in the meantime, stay savvy and stay you, because you're a pretty dang awesome teacher, and there's nobody in the world quite like you. So we'll see you next time. Take care.